Zaxby's, indescribably good.
All right, welcome to the Mo Dixon Show, where tonight we're going to review that tough loss to Milton. Got an off week, and then we're going to preview the Cherokee game, and then take a little bit of a break, Coach. And we got Coach's mailbag and all kinds of questions, thumbs up, thumbs down. But we did the game live on Friday. Tough loss, 20-17 to the Milton Eagles. The Raiders defense hung in all night. 2 big plays on special teams resulted in some points, but Coach, I know you and the boys must have been disappointed after that hard-fought battle.
Extremely. Defense played lights out, did a great job. We had a couple big plays on punts. We blocked one for a touchdown. They muffed one. We got downfield and recovered it, and then scored the next play. It just got really frustrating on our offensive side, and that's basically what happened. We never got uncorked. We very, very good. The coaches I talked to, they had already played them. All of them talked about their defensive line.
Yep.
And we've got to go back to work and make sure that we can. There were some mismatches. Their senior team. We were talking about that.
Right.
And,
that's right.
We've got younger guys. Not that we don't have some guys that are pretty good, but in a couple spots we're young, we're inexperienced, sure. and it showed. And we got to do a better job of getting those guys some help. And we held their run game pretty decent, and they've been hard to stop. And they're a very good football team. Like I said last week, their coaches have done a great job there, and their weight program is outstanding. And again, they're seniors.
Right.
They're guys that coaches and staff's been with them now, and again, they're just a big, powerful football team. We hung on pretty good. I think we went tit for tat with them, and we just did make some big plays. There were about 3 plays that really, really hurt us. I mean, they were just, and not to mention penalties. Once again, we got the ball deep in their territory, and next thing I know, it's 3rd and 30 or 2nd down 30 or something like that.
Yep.
So we got to stop the madness and the insanity. We got to do a better job concentrating and doing things we need to do. Got to learn how to move our feet.
Well, you could see that Milton team kind of coming over the last few years. We were talking about that was a senior-laden team, big on the offensive and defensive line. Do you just think in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter, Coach, they just started to wear down your defense a little bit, and just from a depth perspective?
There was I don't think they wore us down at all. I think there was a point where there was a point early where we seemed to have to punt the ball a lot, and they were on the field, but they were doing very good.
They were doing really well. Yep.
And what had happened is we had one play, and it was a bang play. Technically, I guess you could call it a penalty, but it the kid, they were running a sweep. I'm pretty sure it was a sweep, and he just kept bouncing out of bounds, and we had a kid going basically hit one of their guys out of bounds. And then after that, I mean, it was a huge play because it would have been punting. And after that play, they got 15 yards on that. You could just see it sort of deflated us for the rest of the series because they definitely ran through us right there, and they hadn't did that the whole game. So, I mean, credit goes to them, but that was a big turning point in the game. We had a big 4th down we didn't get either that I thought was it might have been at the end of the first, but we had
headed to the north end zone, so it was probably the third. I thought it was the third quarter. Yeah.
But it was a big play. There was a mix-up on the play, and I thought that was a big one. And
well, you've got an off week this week. When you come off of a tough loss like that, where your team has played so hard, do you want to get back out there again on Friday, or get right back at it, or does the off week maybe come at a good time to regroup before you have those 2 tough games against Cherokee and Etowah?
Well, it's probably best. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
Yep.
I think we're not playing too bad, but I worry about the rhythm. And, with the situation that we're in right now, probably would be good to play, but at the same time, it gives us more. I don't know. There's somewhere in there the reps give you more time to work.
Yep.
You get more time to work. We definitely get more time to work on Cherokee, but at the same time, you got to be careful of spinning your wheels.
Yep.
When there's a game, it's easier to make steps, changes, adjustments from a Friday to a Friday than it is over a 2-week period.
Right, and you get the kids focused and moving towards that next game.
You know, you're on a roll, so we'll just have to see. We have to win these last 2 games, period. Whatever it takes, we got to do that to get it done.
Had a big homecoming crowd on Friday night, which was very enthusiastic. It was one of the bigger ones I've seen at Walton in a while, and it was very loud. And I thought that was a great scene for the Raiders. It was a good overall homecoming. Now you get this break, you go to Cherokee, tough place to play, and the Warriors this year are a vastly improved team, and I would say they probably surprised a lot of people. Halloween night to top it off, which as a coach probably good having all your players though with you on Halloween night. No one gets in trouble that way, right? But you know, this is a tough place to play, and they're playing well, and they're fighting for their lives in the playoffs. And they had this huge game with Lassiter last weekend, the ups and downs and the back and forth that they actually won, I guess, in overtime. But what are you preparing the boys for when they head up to Cherokee in 2 weeks?
That's what we play for. Getting in the middle of the arena. That's what we want. I think the more hostile environment, the better it is for a team. It'll bond you real quick, and you know, it's the Coach Shaw. I've known him for a while when he was at Etowah. Bill Stewart worked with Bill Stewart, and Bill's a good friend too, and he does a great job. And obviously, he's been there I think 3 years now, and he's really got those guys going. The style of ball they're playing. And he's been through his adjustments, and his kids are really doing a good job. His quarterback's outstanding. He's got a really good group of receivers, a great running back, and their defense gets after you. So they're legit as it comes. I mean, they're in the thick of this thing. Somebody beat somebody here, somebody beat somebody there, and they got a shot at winning this thing. So
well, and then you saw from last Friday. I mean, they were down by a couple of touchdowns, and they came roaring back, and they played Lassiter to the end, and they came away with that win. So you can't sleep on them, and you get the sense that they're feeling it a little bit for the first time in a number of years, and they're ready to go play playoff football.
A lot of confidence. They're wide open offense, and their offense reminds you a lot of Lassiter's. You know, the spread stuff, and they do a good job, and they've got a lot of weapons, and they're real physical too now. So, and they're a prideful group. And again, Coach Shaw, he's a defensive guy at heart, but he's a very good coach offensively, and he's a complete coach, and he's got a lot of energy, and those boys are showing it. And it's going to be tough. Well, it's a great place to play. If you haven't had a chance to go see a game at Cherokee, I recommend it as a Raider fan to go on the road. It is a great environment, as Coach said. It'll be a terrific battle, and it's a fun place to go to a game. Just leave yourself a little bit of time there on a Friday evening, going up 575. Go have some barbecue in the area, and just head over to the stadium. So we're going to take a break here, and then we're going to get to some of the fun stuff. I don't want to linger on the loss. We've got a couple of weeks here before we play at Cherokee, but we'll come back, do Coach's mailbag, and ask him a couple of other questions. But first, we're going to take a word and hear from our sponsors, Zaxby's. So, Coach, every week we get this pound of food, and we get the chicken strips, we get the chicken wings, and I would say that today, and there's only 3 of us in here versus 4. There's Bob one piece of celery and 1 wing and 1 strip left. So, not that anybody was hungry on a Monday evening, but we've got the Coach's mailbag, and Coach, we kind of thought this would finally happen, but we got a letter from somebody in Hazard City, Kentucky. Queen City of the Kentucky Mountains, as I've been told. Oh.
And Hank wants to know, Coach.
Hank.
Yep. I don't know if he's one of your buddies from high school or not, but he said, Coach, when did you make the switch from fancy white shoe wearing quarterback to hard-nosed defensive coordinator? Now, last week, Coach, you talked about your Joe Namath white shoes that you had when you played quarterback. But I gotta ask you, because I was thinking the same thing last week. Okay, so when did this defensive coordinator kind of emerge out of this, pretty boy quarterback in high school?
Well, first of all, I was an option quarterback. Big difference.
You were still a quarterback.
Second thing is, first thing you got to do, you got to get away from everybody who really knows you. That's the most important thing.
So that you were run out of town. Okay, we got that.
Yeah.
We got that part down. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I was a head coach in my hometown at the rival school from where I.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
But anyhow, I love the town. I love the county. It's a great place to live. I loved it. And but I just hooked up when I hooked up with Coach Spire. There's no doubt. Actually, here's the deal. Bob Spire is a defensive coach.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing about people. There's no doubt when you think about him, you think about his offenses and stuff. But the bottom line is, learn defense from Bob. And so I got another friend, a guy named Paul Raines that used to be the head coach at Hazard, but he's a really good defensive coach. And so anyhow, I just seemed like I was sitting in, when Bob would do his thing, I would be sitting in a lot of defensive meetings.
Right.
So that just seemed to be where I was going in our fit. Bob runs the offense, I run the defense. So that's just sort of how that defensive thing happened. But until now, just about every time I've been a head coach, not every year, but at every stop, I've called the offense at one time or the other.
Okay.
So I've called the offense more than I've ever called defense as a head coach. So I'm not really sure why that happens, but.
So as an old option quarterback from the 80s, have you ever given thought to going back to one of the old option offenses that we used to run when we were on high school and college?
I thought about teaching it, to have it if it depends on the type of quarterback you got. And I think the passing game, that's what it's turned into now. When you watch all the Oregons and a lot of these teams that Arizona,
absolutely,
Arizona especially, really what they're doing is they're reading the first guy inside the corner type of stuff. So really it's all option anyhow.
They're just reading from the shotgun position now instead of
absolutely.
underneath the center.
And they're you got your zone reads and your veer option look.
Yep.
Except it's out of the shotgun, but a lot of it's with the passing game. They're just going to read the first guy inside, and they're going to triangulate around it there. So the run and shoot stuff that June Jones ran for so long, that's all that is. It's all option game except they're throwing the ball.
What about the wing tee? Why isn't any bringing the Tubby Raymond and the wing tee back?
Now I can run the wing tee. Those people from Hazard will tell you about up at Hazard. They really like the wing tee. They ran that for years and years and years, and I ran the wing tee for a version of the wing tee for 14 years. The true wing tee, not just the formation.
The old Delaware wing tee.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we ran it well.
Maybe you can quiz me on some of my keys. I still think I have a lot.
97.
I think I still have. I remember, fullback comes at me, I come at him, he goes away from me, I check boot. Linda at Walton High, she sends in an email. She said, "Coach, if you could only have one CD to listen to in your car, what would it be?"
One CD.
Not one song, but what album? What?
Golly, man, you might have to cut it on this. This is going to take a while, so we get to cut this part, all right? Because I've got to think on this.
Let's see, Blackfoot, Molly Hatchet, Kiss Alive, Kiss Destroyer.
You
38 special. That Pete said that one.
38 stuff.
38 special is pretty tough.
See, I'm going to think of this later.
Oh, you can email it in next week.
Email. If I had one thing, it'd probably be Marauder by Blackfoot. It's got my favorite song in the world on it. It's called Searching.
All right. Well, I always thought that. I was thinking this weekend. I was cleaning out the garage and a little Blackfoot came up on my iPod, and I was thinking, maybe the guitar riff to Highway Song could be like our coach's
Train.
Well, Train's good, but this is Highway Song. The long guitar.
Let me tell you about Searching, man. Searching was my song.
All right, I'm gonna have to check this out on my iPod.
There was a period there. I have no idea why. I would only allow myself to listen to that song 3 times a year. I'm serious. Now, how's that for weird?
It probably has to do with the number.
It meant a lot to me, man.
All the hits you took as an option quarterback clearly did accumulate over the years.
That is the truth.
So it's Searching. Okay, I've got the Blackfoot album on my iPad and iPod, so I'll have to check that out. So so we've got we go from that, and keep sending in that coach's mailbag. We love these questions, and they're a lot of fun.
In-depth weirdness.
Well, they are. They kind of get it at the core. So now we're going to jump around. So tonight we've got Texans and the Steelers tonight. I grew up outside of Pittsburgh. I'm a Steelers guy, but you're a defensive guy. So here's the question, Coach: Steel Curtain of the '70s or the 1985 Bears? What was the better defense?
Steel Curtain.
Yeah, good choice. We're going to leave the 2014 Falcons out of the discussion.
Yeah,
I think the Curtin had the
still Curtin.
longevity, but the Bears had that one
Yeah, they had that
unbelievable
one-
year.
Exactly.
Yeah, them. As a Kentucky guy, Keeneland or Churchill Downs? For those of you, those are horse tracks.
Keeneland.
Keeneland. So I think it's this weekend and next weekend where you go to Keeneland in the afternoon, then you go to the Kentucky game at night. That's the big
Absolutely.
tradition.
They switch all the games. If they both run together, they put the games at night.
And then you had Midnight Madness at Kentucky this past week. So
Oh, was that this weekend?
Yeah, well, don't admit that to the fans in Kentucky. They're gonna.
I had enough of that.
They're gonna
I'm watching Stoops now.
J.J. Watt. Is he one of the best you've ever seen?
Yeah, he's good. He's good. I tell you what, they get Clowney back. They're
Maybe
gonna
tonight.
Be scary.
Maybe tonight.
They're gonna be scary.
So you look at J.J. Watt. I remember watching Hard Knocks, the way he was kind of taking the Matthews kid and just kind of knocking him around as a rookie and all that. But J.J. Watt's just one of those guys, and you can just say you see it. So who's the best high school player you've ever seen as a coach? I mean, who was that guy that just stands out in your mind that
I coached against.
Yeah, that you coached against?
I know Black Mamba from Crenshaw. God, just forgot his name.
Oh, the running back?
Yes, he played for Oregon. Plays for the Chiefs right now. God, what's his name? DeAnthony Thomas, without a doubt. Greg Reed would be a second, but I've been there, seen both of them. They're both great, but DeAnthony Thomas, it's a whole nother level.
And when you're on the sideline, because I remember this when Jonathan Dwyer played at Kell.
Mm-hmm.
We're standing there and we're watching him score on every play, and you just look at it and you just go, there's just something completely different.
Yeah, I'll take DeAnthony Thomas.
All right, well,
he was something. He was something.
Well, those Oregon guys can just move.
Yep.
I know you don't do a whole lot, but if you had to pick your 4 teams that would be in the college playoff today, who would they be? 2 Mississippi schools?
Well, if I picked it today,
Yeah, because they're going to play each other.
they're going to play each other. So
And
whichever
late.
one of those, probably Mississippi State, Alabama.
FSU?
If we picked it today, we'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they won that ball game the other day without their offensive coordinator, or not offensive coordinator, offensive line coach.
Yep.
And who am I leaving out? Let's see.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's close. Notre Dame's close.
Ohio State or Michigan State might be there too. Not today, but at the end of the season they might be there.
Trying to think of another SEC school, but that's
Alabama and Auburn, but they
that's
they
pretty
play
much
each other
it.
too. So
I don't.
it's going to be good in the month of November.
Oregon's good.
They are.
Oregon's pretty good, so they might have an outside shot.
Well, everybody, we've got to go find that song by Blackfoot. And by the
Certainly.
way, the album that has Train Train and Highway Song on it is a classic kind of Southern rock album. I highly recommend it. Put it on your iPad or iPod. You won't be let down.
You got that Strikes.
Yeah.
Then-
Blackfoot Strikes, right?
And you
exactly.
got Tomcattin.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second one, which had Fox Chase on it.
Are they from Kentucky?
No, they're from Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. They came out of the whole
with
Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, they came up.
All right.
Rick Medlock is the original drummer,
Uh-huh.
the lead singer, and then Marauder was.
So you
that's
got
the first.
So you got
that's
Blackfoot, Leonard Skinner, and 38 Special, all from the Jacksonville
all
Leonard
came from
Skinner
that
tree.
area. And Molly Hatchet.
And Molly Hatchet.
Yep.
Flirting with Disaster is still a classic one.
Dave Sandlin. He'd tell you all about it, man. Me and Dave grew up on it.
So we've got a week to marinate on all this before we get back and talk about the Cherokee game. This week's off Halloween night. So Halloween in Atlanta, Friday night, traffic. Leave early. Go have something to eat up in the Cherokee area. Get there early. You'll love being there. It's a great place to see a game, and the Raiders are going to come ready to play. Got to win both of those games.
Also, a great way to divert from losses, talking about losses.
It's a great way to divert against talk about losses, but I will tell you one thing. I left that game on Friday feeling like we're going the right direction. I thought that was a great effort by the Raiders, and that showed a lot of tough play. And at the end of the day, that's how you got to measure these guys. Brought to you by Zaxby's, Coach Mo Dixon. We'll see you in a couple weeks. I'm Kurt Shreiner. Go Raiders.
See you at Cherokee.